Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Very excited today. I have actress and singer Crystal Balint. So, welcome, Crystal.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited. It should be fun.
We have been watching Midnight Mass, and it's so creepy. It's so creepy, but it's so good. It's so good. What a cast!
Yeah, I know. The cast is like it's on another level.
We were laughing. My wife and I have been watching it together, and when Henry Thomas first comes on scene, I'm like, you know who that is? And she's like, no, he looks familiar. I was like, I know. You know who it is? I finally told her. I was like, that's Elliot.
That's so funny.
But he did such a great job, and your role in it has just been terrific.
Thank you.
It's much more complex than I thought it was going to be at the beginning. It's like layered. You portray a lot without even saying much. You've got very good facial expressions for what's going on, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. So, okay, so I jumped ahead a little bit.
Okay.
Let me back up. Talk a little bit about what made you want to become an entertainer or to get into the entertainment business.
Sure. Well, I grew up in a small town, a very small town in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Rocky Mounties are very different things. I did not grow up there. I grew up in the mountains, and I was an only child. And I watched a lot of TV growing up. I really did. I was a child of the 80s, and I just, I very early on, I became very enamored with films and television and the process of story making. And, I spent a lot of time by myself and having to use my imagination. So I quite often would kind of insert myself into little storylines and just started to become really in love with that idea. And so I actually joined the local theater company in my very small town they were called the Pine Tree Players. Nice. I joined them. Yeah. When I was I want to say I was 12, maybe. I was pretty young.
Pretty young. Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah. And I did a few plays with them. And then as soon as I could get into some drama program in high school, I joined that and had a wonderful drama teacher who sort of tried to expand our minds as far as, thinking outside of the box and using our imaginations more and applying ourselves more. And as a result of that, I just thought, I think this is what I want to do. And I sang all through junior high school, or elementary school and junior high school. And I thought that was going to be the road I was going to go on, but I just fell in love with acting. And so as soon as once I got out of high school, I immediately started studying in the city, which the closest city to me was Calgary, Alberta. And I just went from there. And then I got an agent when I was, 20, I think. And then I was really fortunate because I started to book roles fairly early on in my career and kind of never really looked back. So yeah, that sort of got me going. Yeah.
Do you still get to sing on occasion?
I do on occasion. I mean, I sing in my home. I play guitar as well. So I sort of sing for fun. Nice. I do love a good karaoke party. I enjoy karaoke a lot. My husband and I both are actors and singers, so we do that a lot. And but I don't do it too much professionally anymore. I used to sing in a cover band. I sang in a band for a while. And every now and again, the two worlds collide where I'll get a part that requires that I can sing or that I can do a little singing. And that's always a bit of fun. And I've done some stage work, some musical theater and stuff, but usually that's sort of just more for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. What band were you covering?
Well, so I sang in a cover band that was, what were they? I think we were called Uncovered, which is very original. And it was with two of my friends, and we were put together by a production company in Calgary. And part of the reason we were put together was it was for Calgary Stampede, to do events at Calgary Stampede, which is a big event, which is a lot of people have heard of. And we just covered everything. It was actually, there were four of us. There were three female singers and we had one male singer. So we kind of did all the hits. We did everything from B-52s to KT Tunstall to we did everything. We did all kinds of hits, and we had a great band. Yeah, we went all over we did country, we did pop, we did rock, we did everything. So it was really kind of about hits. We did like top 40 sort of hits.
That's
That's
right.
really the idea. So it was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Do you still do theater, or do you plan to do it at some point in the future?
Yeah, I mean, my agent and I have joked about the idea that like in a perfect world, I could go and work on a set from 7 till 3 and then or 7 till 5 in the morning, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then go and do a stage play after. And that would be ideal. I love doing theater. And I haven't done a theater show in, gosh, I think the last one I did was a touring show that I did with my husband and I were both a part of. But it just, the problem is obviously now with the pandemic, things are quite slow to get back up and running with theater. So it's a bit difficult now, but if I had an opportunity present itself that was really, I could work in my schedule, I would hop on it in a second. I really enjoy doing theater, and I'm not a huge fan of musical theater. It's just not really my jam. I prefer just regular theater, but I love doing theater. So yeah, I would do it in a second.
Good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in the 80s. Did you have 80s hair? Did you have the
Well, I kind of have 80s hair today, but
no, yeah. Well, that's what made me think of it. That looks really good.
I have a lot of hair. I had a lot of hair growing up. I had a lot of very curly hair, and I don't think I had 80s hair per se, but I did cut it very short when I was about 7. Much to my mom's chagrin. My grandparents let me do it. Yeah. My grandparents let me do it when I was away on a vacation with them. And I cut it very short. So I had like a little afro for most of the 80s, I would say, or a chunk of the 80s, but I had just like curly hair. I mean, you couldn't really do a lot with it. Really.
So were you one that loved having the curls, or were you like a lot of people are, where they've got curly hair and all they want is for it to be straight, or vice versa?
Yeah.
If it's straight hair, all they want is the curls.
No, I didn't appreciate my curls until much later in my life. I would say like within the last 15 years is when I finally just went like, you know what, these are pretty cool. But most of the time I wanted straight hair. It was so hard to deal with. I never knew sort of what to do with it. It took me a long time. And to be honest, like people still, like I work on shows and I still have to like explain to people, no, you can't do this with my hair. So yeah, I was a grass is greener kid for sure.
Most of us are.
Hair. Yeah.
So in the 80s, I had the best hair. It was like Sean Cassidy. It was like
really?
Feathered. It was like feathered. I hated it. It because it took so long. It just took so long to put together. I hated it. But then, one day it went away. And then I was like,
and you're like, wait, why didn't I take advantage of all that?
I didn't treat it right.
Feathered hair. That's what happens. If you don't, I tell my son that all the time.
Yeah, I tell my son that all the time because he has just got amazing hair, and I'm like, you better enjoy it, buddy.
Yeah,
the odds are stacked against you. So I think you'll have to remind me, but I think that I saw you. I'm trying to think when the first time I saw you. So I remember seeing you on an episode of V, maybe.
Oh, probably. Oh gosh, that's a throwback. Holy smokes!
That's been a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was. I know you were on the L Word.
Yeah, yeah.
That may have been a couple appearances, maybe.
Yeah, I did a couple episodes of the L Word as well.
Yeah. And then there was a show that was like I can't think of the name of it. This has been a while back, but it was like something with Quest, like a
Myth Quest. Yeah. That was my very first job. That was my very first professional job.
I believe it because it's been a while since that.
Yeah, that's a throwback. In fact, I was just looking at pictures the other day because there was a text chain going around with me and some of the cast about first gigs. And I found this photo. I found a YouTube video of that episode online. I was like, oh my God, I'm a baby. But yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
I've been a fan for a while. Because you pop into a lot of really good shows, which is
Mhm.
pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. I mean, we're lucky here in Canada because we actually have like a pretty, especially here in Vancouver, we've got like this really fantastic thriving industry where people really want to work up here. We've got great scenery, we've got great crews. And so
Yeah.
it affords us Canadian actors an opportunity to get to work on some of these really cool shows.
Have you done a Christmas show yet? Or movie?
Oh yes, I have dipped an entire leg into that pool. Yeah, I've done a number of I shouldn't say an entire leg, at least a foot. There's a huge industry here for what we call the Hallmark movies, and we call them that because they are Hallmark movies. It's not a nickname, but they are they are, we do a lot of Christmas movies. Like I think in the summertime there's a database you can look at to see what's filming in the Vancouver area. And if you look anytime between June to September, there's at least 15 or 20 of them shooting at any given time. Sometimes it's crazy. And once you get into the rotation of a Hallmark movie, if you've done one or two of them, it's a hamster wheel. So it's sometimes tricky to get off of if you don't want to be on it anymore. And it's great if you do want to do it and you want to stay in that world and you want to it's fantastic because they'll just keep putting you in things if they like you. Yeah. And it can be really lucrative and it can be a lot of fun and it isn't for everybody. But I know a lot of actors who do them all the time. And I think I've done probably 10 or so, not just Christmas ones, but also
at least a leg.
Yeah. It's pretty good. And I had a lot of fun working on them and I met a lot of really fun people. I got to work with some great directors and, have a good time. So it was, and again, it's an opportunity.
I didn't get to normally before I have a guest on, I go around to everybody in the family and say, where have you seen? That we played where have you seen this person?
Yeah, sure.
So my oldest daughter, she, the day after Thanksgiving, she starts watching the Christmas movies.
Wow.
She's that girl. She's ready. Up until New Year's, don't bother her because she's probably watching Christmas. So I know if I'd asked her, that's where she could probably tell me exactly which one she's been in.
Yeah, there's a few that have gotten pretty highly, I think, go into heavy rotation. Usually I see them pop up every year that I've done. So if she's a fan of them, there's a good chance that she's seen my face in one of those movies. I
guarantee because I've never run into one that she hasn't seen. I mean, I see it's just by osmosis, you see a lot of them because they're on all the time through the holidays. But I couldn't tell you the name of any of them.
Sure. Well, they're all very similar. It's there's only so many Christmas type words that you could put in a series that will look like a title. So
it's like comfort food.
Yeah, sure. For sure.
They're very just nice watching. It's going to have a happy ending. There's probably going to be a lesson that's learned. It's very nice. And snow.
Yeah, and snow. My girlfriend says I have a friend who watches them all the time, watches all of them, whether they're Christmas or loved ones or what have you. And the way she explained it to me is that, it's like putting it on if you just don't want to have to think. You just want to watch a story that you kind of know where it's going to go. There's no twists and turns to surprise you. You're just and you can just have an easy time of it.
Sometimes that's all you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the reason I watch movies over and over again. I watch movies over and over again for that same feeling.
Yeah, because I know you're kind of you're a Princess Bride fan.
I'm a huge fan of The Princess Bride. I have a whole list of movies that I go to if I just want to zone out and feel good. And that's definitely one of them.
I tend to go towards movies that are quotable. Princess Bride's one of those where you can, if you want to, you can just recite all the lines.
Just pull them out wherever you need them. You just put them up and pin it out. Yeah.
I like Westerns too. So my favorite quotable movie is Tombstone. Because it's just full of, fun quotes.
Yeah.
Princess Bride's right up there. It's got to be top.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so great.
Yeah. I hope they never remake it.
It's one of the things. It's funny. I just was having this discussion the other day with my husband about why do they remake movies when they just can leave them alone? I know they just remade Candyman, and I'm I'm not a huge horror fan, but it's one of the few horror films that I actually really have like a
Right.
soft place in my heart for. And I'll watch the new one. That's cool. But I just like have such a soft spot for that. And I'm like, why did they have to touch
Just leave it
it? They
alone.
touched
Just
my
leave it
special thing.
That's right.
So yeah, The Princess
I mean,
Bride, I think no one will touch it. It's too iconic.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
It would
That's
be
a tough
incredibly tough. It would be impossible. Who would play Andre the Giant's role?
I don't know. That'd probably be the toughest one to cast.
You got to leave that alone.
You gotta leave it alone.
Yeah.
To me, if you're going to remake something that should have been good but wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. Give it another shot. Give it a shot at redemption. But don't mess with things that are perfect. They're fine.
But now that being said, as a fan, I love it when they do the revivals. That's big. Right? Like Frasier, I think, is coming up pretty soon. But they're doing it all over. Dexter's coming back.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about revivals because sometimes some shows like Dexter I could appreciate because I wasn't a fan of the way Dexter ended. I loved Dexter and I didn't really I thought that the last couple seasons kind of went off the rails. So I'm interested to see how they bring that story back. Something like, I don't know, like Breaking Bad or something, like just leave it alone because it ended perfectly.
Yeah, you can't bring that.
So it depends on the show for me, but sometimes I'm like, let's just let it be. Let's let them. I'm just happy to let those memories be those memories,
So okay, so if you were going to watch a movie, the minute we stop podcasting, what's the movie?
Today?
Yeah.
How I'm feeling today? I would say I'm in a mood to see like I Love You Man again. Because I love you, man. That's another movie that I've seen about it a number of times, too many times for me to even try to count.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's movie. A good movie.
It's a good movie. It's a good buddy movie.
Yeah, it is a good buddy movie.
Yeah.
We used to, when I was in college, me and my roommates were big fans of Monty Python's The Holy Grail.
That's a good one.
We just had a cassette player, a VHS player, and we would play that. It was playing nonstop because we were poor, we couldn't afford cable. It played nonstop, and it would just so anytime you came in, it was on. You would come in at different times of the movie, and if it ended, whoever walked by or anything would just push play again. It never stopped. It was on all the time.
That's funny. I lived with some people when I was I didn't go to college or university, but they did. And so I lived near the university with them. And we had a thing where every Sunday, we would all go to a big buffet at this restaurant nearby. And then we would all, with a very full bellies, because we'd always overeat because we were all so broke. So we'd always get our fill. And we would go back to the house and we would watch Braveheart every Sunday.
Braveheart, that's a great
from beginning to end. Yeah. And the great thing about Braveheart is like once you've seen it 5 or 6 times, you can fall asleep, you can take a little nap, you can wake up, it's still on, but you know exactly where you are. Fantastic.
That is the great part about watching movies that you've seen 100 times.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to see the whole movie and you can still enjoy whatever part you catch.
Absolutely. And it's comforting. You're like, oh, I know what's coming. I can pop out to get a snack or whatever and come back and it's going to be fine.
You did some work on a Disney show.
I did.
Yeah. What was the name of that one?
It was called Mech X4.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Ali Liebert was on that.
Ali Liebert worked on that as well, who's fantastic.
And we were lucky enough to interview her a few weeks back.
Oh, great.
And, yeah. So I saw that's what it was. I saw that the two of you were both on that show.
Yeah.
Once you're a Disney kid, you're in. It's kind of like Hallmark. They're gonna.
Here's hoping, right?
You can get like a T-shirt now. I'm a Disney kid.
I have a Mech X4 sweatshirt upstairs. Hopefully that will actually get me through the door. But no, that was a really super fun show to work on. And I was really sad when it ended because I thought for sure we were going to get one more season and we were like all really hoping we would. But I just had such an excellent time working on that show. And the stuff I got to do in season 2 was so fun. They really the writers and the producer really brought me into the fun fold. Yeah. So I just got to have such a great time with everybody. And it was such a ride. I was really grateful for that experience.
Now we need Marvel superhero.
Listen, I'm not going to say like call me, but like call me if you're looking at me, call me. Because like I'm not a huge, I won't lie, like I'm not a huge superhero fan, but that world is crazy. Like there's
You
so many
could be
fun
though.
things that they're doing on it. Oh my God, that would be such a treat. It'd be such a treat. Who do we call? Who do we call?
I know people.
Do you know
We'll get-
people? Okay,
Oh
call
yeah, I
them.
know people.
Give them,
We'll get that hooked up.
get
That's
them
a
with
done
my
deal.
people. We'll get
We
it
just
all.
we just have to figure out what role.
It's a huge universe. I'm sure they
Yeah.
can find something for me. Something has to fit.
Well, and they're big on the more obscure characters, you know, trying to give them life and
Yeah.
bring them to the screen. So yeah.
Well, they got to fill it. I
thousands.
mean, they got to do something. There's like, you know, they've hit all the big ones. Now they've really got to like dig deep, and it's an
They gotta
incredible
dig in.
universe.
We're gonna make
I
that.
should start doing some digging. I'll do some digging and I'll do some pitching. Let's see what we can find.
You let me know. I'll be right there with
I
you.
will. I will.
Come on. There was another show that I really liked that you made at least one, maybe a couple of appearances on. It was called Aftermath.
Right. That was an
I
interesting
really
show.
liked that show. And
Did
yeah,
you?
it was different.
Very
I
different.
was disappointed when it ended. I thought it got kind of rushed to the end, but it was, I don't even know how you would describe it. I guess apocalyptic type of show, but
yeah, post-apocalyptic for sure. I think it was an interesting, I didn't understand it at all. I was like, I still don't understand what actually is happening, but I appreciated what they were trying to do. And I again, that's another job that like, I had such a great time doing I got to do some fun things on that show that I had never done before. And in terms of like the CG stuff, and I got to work with some really great actors and really fantastic director. And so, yeah, that was a really fun show. But when I watched it, I was like, I've read the script and I still am not sure if I understand 100% what's going on. But to be fair, I actually didn't watch the entire, like the whole series. I just popped in for a few episodes. So, but I've heard other people say they really thought that was a neat show.
Really
so
liked it.
yeah,
It ended,
cool.
Ended too soon. So we want to get you a role in the Marvel universe, but you've had a couple of spots in DC. You've done Arrow and you just did Supergirl, right? Not too long ago.
That's right. Yeah, actually, the first episode of Supergirl that I did aired last night, so that was fun. And then you'll spy me in a couple later episodes. But yeah, I did Arrow, I did Supergirl. Did I do anything else? Oh, I did Riverdale, which is not DC, but it's CW. So
no, it's CW, and you also did the 100.
I did the 100, which was an amazing experience, and I'm still holding on that the prequel will go. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it, but I know that
heard it here first.
Talks are still happening. Well, I'm hoping for it. I'm sitting around hoping for it, just like everybody else. So, because that was a really tremendous experience too. I loved working on that show.
You know, you're an attractive person if you get cast on the 100. Everybody on that show is good looking. Right?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was on the prequel, so I don't know. Maybe that was pre-attractive casting, but I think that I thought that was such a really great show to work on, and it would be so much fun to go back and do more of that. And I fell in love with that character too. So I just, I'm pulling for it. I'm really pulling for it.
Fingers crossed for that.
Yeah.
It was that show was such a surprise. Because when it first came out, I tried to watch the first episode and I was like, it's okay. And I stopped. And then like a year later, I heard, some people talking about it and I was like, well, okay, maybe I didn't give it enough time. I went back and watched it, loved it. Just
really.
Absolutely. And it's got the best little opening song at the beginning. I used to run to it. That was
really
I'd be on the treadmill and that song kick in, I get going a little faster.
That's great. I have a friend who if I tell her I've done something, one of my best friends, if I tell her I've worked on something, she can't just watch the singular episode that I've done, or episodes, or whatever it ends up being. She will watch the entire show. So when I told her I worked on the 100, I said, well, I'm only in this one episode, and it's a standalone episode because it's really a prequel. It's not really tied to the storylines per se of the show. And she said, okay. But she just watched the whole show. She watched so just the other day, she texted me finally and said, I'm just getting to season 7. And I was like, that's commitment. That is commitment. So then she could watch episode 7 and like get it, like the full experience from the prequel episode. in a way that like a fan might, because they watch the whole show from the beginning. So I can
And
appreciate
coincidentally, my running has not been the same since it went off the air. So we need to get that.
Well, we got to get that. That you should write a letter to somebody. Somebody's got to know that. It's impeding upon your physical well-being at this point. That the show is not there.
I can't do I'm very jealous of the people that can just run.
Mm-hmm.
I have to distract myself.
Yeah, me too.
Normally I'm on a treadmill watching something. That's how I normally do it.
Yeah, I don't have a treadmill. I've been wanting to get one because I find the same thing. If I have something in front of me, then I can go forever. But if I'm like out on the street, I'm like, I don't know, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
I feel silly.
And then I can focus on how tired I actually feel too. And that's all my brain does.
Right. That's all you think about.
Exhausted it is. Yeah.
So tired. What was your role on Riverdale?
I played a psychiatrist. I played a psychiatrist named Dr. Sherry Winters, and I was treating poor old Archie there, who's having a real rough go. Yeah.
That's
was just one episode, but it was fun.
Very psychiatrist name, Dr.
Sherry Winters.
That sounds.
It is, yeah.
Although it kind of sounds like a supervillain too.
There was some, when I read the script and after I was talking to some friends about it, I thought, they said, they're going to call you back because you're going to be something evil. And that hasn't manifested yet, but it does sound a little bit like an alter ego of a bad person.
A villain would be a fun role.
It would be a fun role. Oh my goodness, wouldn't it? I haven't yet to play a real villain, I think.
Yeah. Maybe that's how you get in the Marvel universe. Maybe you're a bad guy.
Putting it out there, putting it out there.
So this one, but if I had superpower, it would be the useless power of just being able to tell you what I have seen people in. That's
okay.
That's it. I like see somebody and then, it's like, it just pops in my, oh yeah, I've seen them in this, and this. But I have this memory of you on an episode of Fringe.
Yes.
Yes. But it wasn't a big role, right? It was just
very
I couldn't
small.
tell you exactly what it is, but in my head, I can see you on the show.
It was an episode of Fringe that was called Olivia, and it was about, I think what happened, if I'm not mistaken, is the lead, and the actress's name is escaping me right now, but she escapes from something and they're tracking her, and I played like an agent who comes in and says like, and I'm making it up now, but I say something like, we found her at this place. And it's very serious and it's very stoic. And I come in and I remember shooting it, and it was like one of, very still somewhat earlier in my career. And I remember it being very scary because it's very hard to come in and deliver one line when you are not a part of the cast,
right?
Like not part of the regular cast, when you are still figuring it out to some extent, when you don't really know any of the things and you just are coming into like and your line is what like pivots the story. So
no pressure.
It's very hard. One-liners are very difficult. I do not begrudge anyone who has come in and done like one line in those pivotal scenes on movies or shows or whatever they are, because they can be really difficult. It's very easy to overdo them. It's very easy not to do enough with them.
You said that, and that has to be hard if you're coming on a show where the cast has been together for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's really hard. Totally. It gets in, it gets in your mental game. You really got to just like come in and you got to know your character, but you can't like overdo it. You just have to like serve the story. And it's really hard. It's a very difficult thing to do very well. And if you see it done well, know that actor knows what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. You've opened my eyes to the
watch for the one-liners.
One-liner.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk Midnight Mass. How did this role come about? Is this, are you auditioning like old time way, or are you doing it by remote? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did it come about?
So I was asked to audition for the role in the end of 2019, so pre-pandemic.
Okay.
And but I was asked because I'm in Vancouver, I was invited to audition for it out of the casting office in LA. So I did do it remotely. I did it via what we call self-tape.
Yeah.
So my husband is an actor, like I mentioned, and he read with me, and we just
that has to be kind of handy. Do you guys
super
do that
handy
a lot with each other?
All the time.
That's cool.
All the time. And it's like having a living coach and tape reader, and it's actually a real blessing. But yeah, so we taped it, and it was just a few days before Christmas. So and I was actually working on my audition for the 100 at the same time. So, and at that time I had two very small children, and time is always of the essence. So I was trying to balance them both, and being right before Christmas, I just, it wasn't great timing for me to get two auditions, but I managed to get them both done. This one I quickly taped, and we quickly whipped it off, and I didn't really look at the details of the project, and they were very scarce. Like I think my character description was like a sentence, and it was something like, she is Lisa's mother. There was no details about the project other than the fact that it was Mike Flanagan. At the time, it was a working title, so it wasn't even called Midnight Mass. I didn't know anything about the show. Yeah. So I just literally read the scene. I thought, okay, I'll do it. And I learned it real quickly. We just ran it. We sent it off. And then I got into Christmas. Then it was Christmas and the holidays, and you enjoy time with your family, and you sort of put everything else to the side. And then about a week or two into the new year, I got a call from my agent, and I had found out at this point that I had also booked the 100. And a day or so later, I got a call from my agent saying, you booked this project called Crockett. I think it was called Crockett at the time. And I was like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? He was like, you booked this project. They want to offer you this part on this show with Mike Flanagan. And I, okay, cool. Yeah. I'd kind of forgotten about it, to be honest. And then I had to look it up. And at that point, I think there were now some press releases about the show. And then not long after, there was some press release about who was in it. And then I started to go like, oh my gosh, this is like kind of a big thing. Yeah. And then it was about, I want to say, not long after that, I got an email from Mike welcoming me to the show. And then I eventually had a meeting with Mike and Trevor Macy, his producing partner at Intrepid. And they just made me feel like so at home immediately. They immediately made me feel like a part of the family. Like I was, like an integral part of the storytelling process. Yeah. I felt so at ease with them right away. And then it wasn't long after that I got the scripts, and then we had the table read, and that was an incredible experience. We did a 7-hour table read with everybody, all 7 episodes, which you don't always do. Yeah. And then we had a cast dinner, and then the world shut down. And then everything locked down, and we all went to our respective corners of the world and waited out the lockdown for 4 months or whatever it was. So that was my journey to pre-shooting. But yeah, I was kind of, I think probably fortunately, I was blissfully unaware of what this project was and what the intention was for this project when I auditioned for it. And now it's turned into this really tremendous thing that I'm very fortunate to be a part of. And I'm a very grateful member of what we like to jokingly call the Flanagan family. So yeah, it's nice.
That's right. And so what's coming next? I saw there's another midnight something or mass something. There's something coming next. Right? Is that prequel, sequel, something altogether different?
Totally unrelated to Midnight Mass. So it just happens to have Midnight in the title. Midnight Club that'll be the next project. Yeah, that Mike and again, Trevor Macy's producing partner and Intrepid is produced for Netflix as well. And it's a series that is an adaptation of Christopher Pike work. So Christopher Pike was a young adult author from the 80s and 90s. And so Mike has taken some of his novels and adapted that into a series of sorts. But the Midnight Club was also a title of one of his novels. So that's the overarching story. I know
Christopher Pike. That actually is very exciting for me. I was especially early on, I was pretty nerdy, a lot of reading. Spent a lot of time reading, growing up, especially, the elementary school, early middle school years. So yeah, that's actually pretty exciting.
It's going to be very cool. And again, there's there'll be some familiar faces on that. So because again, Mike likes to bring in the people he knows. And it's such a lovely thing that he does that, because it doesn't happen super often. But he's really created a really unique show, I think. And the cast of that show, the key cast of that show it's comprised of just this collective of really incredibly talented young actors who I'm just so thrilled for people to get to see their work, because I know what's on the page and I get to work with a few of them. So I'm really excited to just have the world see their work.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So have you started filming for that one?
We filmed already, so it's now in
So
post-production.
we're just waiting now.
Yeah, now it's just a waiting game. So it shot through the spring and into the summer and just recently wrapped. So
See, you're connecting with you've got Disney, you've got the Flanagan, you've got all these connections now. You probably don't even have to audition anymore. They just
well, I want to say I don't, but I do. I still do. I would love to stop, but I still do.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So Midnight Mass, without giving these, I don't want to give any spoilers because it's still pretty new. How would you describe your character on the show?
So Dolly is the wife of the mayor of the community.
Yeah.
So Crockett Island is a very small community. It used to be a bit bigger, but now there's maybe 100, I think there's 127 residents on the island. So incredibly small, very small. Yeah, and not thriving, not in any way thriving. But there is a mayor, there has to be a mayor, and so I'm the mayor's wife. And so she's a pretty prominent face in the community. I think a lot of people know her. They look to our families, the Scarboroughs. People look to them for sort of guidance in a lot of ways. She's a very quiet woman. She's very introverted. She's also had a real hard time over the last several years. Her daughter was injured in a very tragic accident and paralyzed from the waist down. And so she's had a real hard time adjusting to that particular challenge and what that challenge is as a mother, as a parent. And so when we meet Dolly, she's in a real bad place. She's not managing well. She's changed on a sort of cellular level, and she really relies heavily on her faith to sort of guide her through all of this. But she really needs a miracle when we meet her. And she's just a sad woman when we meet her.
Yeah, I know. It's like she's kind of heartbreaking because she's just so sad.
Yeah, and she tries. She puts on a brave face, I think, because she has to, but she's not really coping super well.
Yeah. We thought the actors playing your daughter really good.
She's incredible. She's so talented, and she's such a lovely young woman. And I no question in my mind that she's going to go far places, because she's just got a really tangible, raw talent for doing what we do.
Yeah. She was so good. She was really good. So now that you've done this one, which is kind of a horror type of genre, is there a genre that you haven't done that you want to do?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, well, listen, I've always wanted to do like an action type thing, something with a lot of like fast moving parts. Like I ride a motorcycle. I haven't done it in a little while, but I have a motorcycle license. So I have this dream that I would like get to do something where I could like ride a motorcycle and like be really cool, something like that would be super fun. So yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of my time in drama. Like most of my roles sort of are in this drama, and some of them sort of dance the line of sci-fi and things like that. But I would love to do something that's a little more like action packed to that extent. I think that's one area I haven't really dipped my toe into yet.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So when you ride motorcycles, I mean, do you have the full outfit? Have you got like the matching, how into motorcycles are you?
Not very. I used to be more into them when I was a bit younger. I used to ride like a what's called a Honda CR. It was a Smoke and Joe's. It was a very specific type of motorcycle. So it was like they only made so many of them. It was like what people like to call a crotch rocket. So it was a very fast motorcycle, a sport bike. And it was a big bike for me too. It was like 650 cc's, which is a pretty big bike.
Pretty big.
But I didn't. The only reason I knew as much as I did about bikes is because the person I was with at that time was into bikes. So I kind of was like, sort of like you said, like through osmosis, right? But I had always sort of wanted to ride. I always wanted to learn how to ride. So it was a dream of mine to do it. But all of the information I got about bikes was kind of via this person. But yeah, I don't have like the whole, I never really went that far. I had a cool jacket, had a good like protect, I'm also a bit like, I'm a bit of a nervous Nelly too. So most of the gear I had was simply to just protect me. Like it wasn't to look cool. It
Right.
was like, so that I like legitimately felt safe being out on a bike. So I had a really good
Yep.
helmet that just happened to look kind of cool. I had a cool, like a jacket that was like Teflon all out, so that I could just know that if I had had an accident, I would be, not mush on the pavement, more or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
But that was it.
I don't ride bikes, but if I did, that would be me. I would be geared up, but it would all be safety related.
Yeah. And if I were to get a bike now, and I've looked at them because I sometimes in the summer months, as soon as the weather gets nice, I'm always eyeballing, the bikes on the road. But I'm a mother now and I'm older, and there's a part of me that's like, I can't not come home. I have to, I want to be in
You
one
gotta
piece.
switch to like a moped now, a scooter.
Yeah. Or like if I were to get a bike, I'd get like a way small, like a maybe like nothing more than probably 450 cc's. And I would want to get like a laid back bike that, doesn't really like hit the ground running, so to speak. Because the 650 I rode was, like if you really stepped on it, you couldn't control that thing in a corner if you tried. It was heavy, it was a big bike. So yeah, I would be way more like, I get a mom bike now. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but that's what I would get.
Yeah. I think that's prudent.
Yeah. Is there a Honda mom bike? Can I just like Google that? Like a
If
Honda
there's not, we should make
400 mom bike. Yeah. Someone should patent that. Let's get on that.
Maybe it has a sidecar that you can put the kids.
Yeah. Or groceries. You could put groceries in the sidecar. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, Crystal, thank you so much for taking some time. This is it's been a blast. I told you I've been watching you you just pop in everywhere. Oh, I did want to ask you, what was I've only seen clips of it, but it looks really good. What was the show that you did for the BBC?
Oh, yeah, that was the Bletchley Circle, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal experience. And it's one of the like great loves and the great pains of my career, because I absolutely love that show. And I thought it was really well done. And I thought that we had tremendous actors on that show. It was primarily a locally made show, with the exception of the fact that we had like the British, actresses, and we had some help from them. But I absolutely love that character in that show. I just wish that more people had seen it. And I just think that if we had the same kind of push that we have right now with Midnight Mass for that show, I think more eyes would have seen it, and
I'm gonna look it up because the clips I've seen, it really looks good. That's why
it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and it's based on some historical truths, which I find really fascinating. I'm such a huge history nerd, so I dig it. So yeah, look it up. I think it's on. I'm pretty sure you can find that on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it. Yeah, I just. And when I was going through your stuff, I saw in there some clips. I was like, that looks like something I would watch.
It's good. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So before I let you go, I know about Midnight Club. Is there anything else that you have upcoming that we can kind of keep an eye
out for? There will be, but I can't talk about it yet. So wink.
See, that means you have to come back when you're able to.
Yeah, I will happily come back and talk about the other things when I can. But yes, you have not seen the last of me. Let's put that.
Can we know the genre?
No. There's no way around it. There's no way to spill any of it without giving any of it away. So
are you the villain?
Am I the villain? Ooh, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of, but you never know. But I will tell you this much: when the time comes, we will absolutely talk about it. You can get in touch with me, and we will do it.
Yeah. Okay. Deal. That's a deal.
Yeah.
So last thing before I let you go, where can we find you on social media?
Sure. Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter at Crystal Balint. Can't even say my own name, but all spelling is all the same, at Crystal Balint. And then on Instagram, I'm at a girl named Crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that one.
That's it.
Yeah. I found you on Instagram. I like that one. The girl named
Crystal. Great.
It's pretty good.
It's a lot of fun.
That's pretty good. All right. So I did think of one more I want to ask you. You've got younger children.
Mm-hmm.
Have you started introducing them to some of your favorite movies yet?
Slowly, we're really trying to like follow the recommendations of like not too much screen time and things like
Right.
that, but there's only so much we can do, and they're older enough now that we trust that they can handle it. But so we've started with little things like last year, I think at Christmas we watched The Grinch with them, which was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
And right now they're obsessed with The Lion King. Like they just want to watch The Lion King all the
Oh, that's
time.
good. Yeah.
But they like nature docs. Like they've been watching this one nature doc about oceans like over and over again. They just are
That's
obsessed with
pretty
it.
cool.
So slowly we'll start to introduce them to. We watched Finding Nemo. They loved Finding Nemo. That's one of my favorites. So yeah, we're getting
They're
there.
kind
We're
of in
getting
the
there.
Disney stage. I mean, how old do they have to be before we get to like Princess Bride?
Oh, I'm gonna
Never
say
ending story.
I started watching The Neverending Story when I want to say like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say like when they can sort of like grasp some of the concepts, then I'll
Right.
introduce them, because otherwise it's just this moving pictures and they don't get it. But I think once they can start to like grasp relationships and concepts, that'll
Yeah.
probably be like in the next few years, I can probably get there.
I mean, all my kids are grown, so I'm just waiting on the grandkids to get old enough to start showing that. But that's one of the best things, is just sit down and watch one of your favorite movies with the kids.
Yeah. It's quality time. That's the quality time thing. It's less about screen time. It's more about quality time. So that's
it really is. It really isn't about, because you do try to limit the screen time. It's really about just getting to spend something that you enjoy, kind of doing that with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Pretty cool. Well, thank you so much, Crystal, and definitely you have
Thank you.
Back. Yeah.
You
Okay. Hold
betcha
on
I
a
will.
second. That was the talented Crystal Balint, and that was awesome. If you haven't seen Midnight Mass yet, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's only 7 episodes, really well done. She is fantastic in it. And we talked, if you listen through the episode, we talked about a ton of stuff that she has been in. She's been good in everything I've seen her in. Just a big fan of hers. And I got a feeling that she has just an amazing voice. So we gotta find something to put her in where she can sing. So that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. That was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again with us this week. Really appreciate that. Don't take it for granted. If you haven't done so yet, please go to our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. Give us a like and a subscribe. We'd really appreciate the help with that. You can also find all 300 or so episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. It's at least a couple hundred interviews within those 300 episodes. I guarantee you'll find tons of people that you like or that you're interested in. So please check that out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye everybody.